Hello and welcome. I'm Sylvia Ash-Bullard with the Rockland Bulletin. With the holiday season in sight, the OPP is reminding the public to take appropriate action to properly secure their property when going on vacation. Police need the help of everyone in order to fight crime efficiently and reduce the number of break-ins and thefts. It is important to remember the crime triangle. Whenever a crime, such as a theft, is committed, there are always three components present: a criminal, an opportunity, and a victim. The way to discourage a thief from victimizing your property is to take away the opportunities or by reducing them. The best way to secure your belongings is by locking doors and windows and not advertising the acquisitions of new items. Another means of protecting yourself is to have good communication with your neighbors. If you see something suspicious anytime, write down the description of any suspicious persons, get the make, model, color, and license number of strange vehicles. Call the police and other members of your neighborhood immediately. If you are going away, leave the following information with a trusted friend or neighbor: where you are going, how you can be reached in case of emergency, when you expect to return, if anybody will be at your home, like for example a gardener or a repairman. Leave a key with your neighbor. What else can you do? If you know your neighbor is away and you see an obvious invitation to a burglar, correct it. Close the open garage door and remove the accumulation of newspapers from the doorstep. Keep an eye on strangers in your neighborhood. The unauthorized seller may use an unanswered doorbell as the opportunity to enter an unsecured home. The person taking a shortcut through your backyard may have broken into your neighbor's home. Don't assume someone else has called. Call the police immediately. Write down license numbers and descriptions of strange vehicles parked at your neighbor's house or that are passing by numerous times. Protect yourself with good lighting, good lock security. Secure all doors and windows when the house is unoccupied. Let a trusted neighbor know when you're on vacation. Keep a tight control on who has access to your keys. More information is available on the OPP website at www.opp.ca in the Safeguard Ontario Property Security Program section. Make the effort. Become acquainted with your neighbors. Remember that safety is everyone's priority. If you see something, say something. The United Counties of Prescott-Russell Council voted unanimously for approval of the 2018 final budget report. A 2-inch thick document, which was presented by the Director of Finance for the counties, was made by Julie Menard-Bro, with more than half of the agenda package for their regular Wednesday morning session. The final document projects an overall operations and capital works budget of about $106 million for the counties. The municipal levy portion of the budget will be about $42.5 million. This represents an increase of $1,783 million in the municipal levy compared to the 2017 county's budget. This works out to a 2.7% increase for the residential tax rate, which translates to $27 more for the average homeowner on the county's property tax bill. Property tax notices will not go out until next spring after the provincial assessment calculations are finished. Some property owners may have higher or lower tax bills than the projected average, depending on whether or not their land and buildings have increased in value compared to the county's average. More than 30 volunteers gathered to collect donations at St. Pascal-Bélan on the occasion of the annual food drive on Saturday, November 25th. Each volunteer was accompanied by several children and were assigned to a specific route to knock on the doors of residences. According to the organizers, a dozen baskets were filled during the day, and several people who could not participate the same day donated the days before and the days following the Grignolet. Stéphane Parisien, the Chief Administrator of the United Counties of Prescott-Russell, says the location of a new seniors retirement home has been narrowed down to 3 sites. The council approved a resolution during its November 22nd meeting to accept the recommendations from Collier's project leaders, which is the consultant firm that was hired to help shepherd the project through all of the planning for provincial funding support. Parisien did not give specifics as to the possible location, as the council administration and the consultants are still going through the selection process to determine which site would best suit the county's needs and also meet provincial financial assistance criteria. He did confirm that the plan is to build a new residence rather than renovate the existing building, which is in Hawkesbury. Ontario will connect every person diagnosed with dementia with a patient navigator by expanding the proven First Link program to every community across the province, making access to care more consistent and fair for families regardless of where they live. Expanding the program will provide 14,000 people diagnosed with dementia and their care partners with the services of a First Link Care Navigator who will help them access local supports and programs such as health professionals, information about day-to-day living and care, counseling, and other community programs and services. The province is also supporting an additional 8,000 people living with dementia and providing respite care to the families and other care partners by increasing access to community dementia programs. These programs offer activities for people living with dementia, such as art, music, and exercise, which can provide meaningful social and recreational engagement and lead to enhanced well-being. Respite services, which includes in-home and overnight support, reduce care partner burnout, and help people with dementia live safely at home for as long as possible. And now, Stephanie with Health and Wellness.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and these are brand new segments of Health and Wellness. I will be speaking with Dr. Paul on subjects that matter to you.
What is PTSD and why is it, and how can we recognize PTSD?
PTSD is really a term that's short for post-traumatic stress disorder, which by definition means symptoms, psychological symptoms, mental health symptoms that are induced by a trauma. Now that trauma could be anything from being in the war, having experienced a terrorist attack, having been abused as a child, having been robbed or raped or anything. Any trauma can bring on what's called PTSD. So we hear a lot about it in veterans, for example, who have seen atrocities in Afghanistan and Vietnam in the past in the United States and so on. But it can occur to anybody who's seen, for example, who's witnessed a bad thing, witnessed a murder, witnessed anything that traumatizes an individual. And even children who are abused can have post-traumatic stress disorder as they grow up. And so, people ask me, what are the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder? Well, there's a few of them. Essentially, it's anxiety, it's phobias, it's not wanting to go out. It can vary in terms of it. It can have various complaints. People can have headaches or what's called psychosomatic symptoms. There's a whole slew of symptoms that are related to it, but most of them have to do with anxiety, an anxiety disorder, because they're anxious. And anxiety could cause hypervigilance, cause phobias, cause people not to be socially active. They might turn to drinking because it's too painful for them to even think about what's happened. And so this is a very unfortunate side effect of people who have witnessed trauma. And so it's also an important side effect that needs to be addressed, and we're diagnosing it more and more. We're even talking about policemen getting PTSD when they see some horrific crimes or some horrific murders and so on. So the causes can vary, but invariably what's common in the causes is that they're all traumatic. They induce trauma, and they've induced a traumatic memory to that individual. So that individual, for the rest of his or her life, if left untreated, will always live in that fear that, it's going to happen again. There's triggers that do that. For example, perhaps they were wearing, the killer was wearing a certain perfume, even that. and they smell that perfume. Every time that perfume occurs, they get triggered back to the tragedy or to whatever it was. So it's really an important diagnosis to make. And unfortunately, it doesn't go away on its own, and it really needs therapy. It needs to be seen by a psychologist, a psychotherapist, sometimes a psychiatrist, to be able to evaluate and do the history. There's cognitive behavioral interventions in terms of speaking to the psychologist, psychiatrist, talking about it, maybe addressing the phobia. So there's not one treatment for all. Each individual, depending on the context, depending on the symptoms, depending on the way that the symptoms manifest themselves, are treated differently. So there is what we call psychotherapy, speaking to people. Sometimes it's group therapy, putting people in the same room who've had the similar experiences may be helpful. And in many situations, you need to give them some form of medication or treatment, where you give anxiolytic medications, antidepressive medications to these individuals in conjunction with the psychotherapy. And very often, sometimes it's a progressive thing. So, for example, they're worried about getting into the elevator. The psychotherapist may give you a stepwise approach. Just go to the first floor, or go into the elevator and come out of the elevator, or think about it. There's mindfulness, there's all kinds of things, meditation. There's a whole slew of approaches to PTSD, but the most important aspect of PTSD is making the diagnosis. So if anybody has had a trauma and that trauma has been haunting them, both in terms of memories, or sometimes not even thinking about them, but thinking that they want to commit suicide, they're suicidal, they're depressed, they have all these symptoms, there may be a connection. That speak to your physician, get help, because there is help. And there's no use for you or your loved ones who have PTSD to suffer without getting the appropriate help. There is help out there, and so don't be afraid to go out and get it. There's no stigma, there's no shame in saying that you have a post-traumatic or PTSD.
Thank you, Stephanie. Survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking will be receiving help to escape violence by providing faster access to housing. Survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking will now have access to a subsidy or portable housing benefit that helps low-income households manage household costs. The subsidy gives a household the freedom to choose where to live and is not tied to a specific unit like most rent-geared-to-income social housing. Starting January 1st, 2018, survivors of human trafficking can also receive priority access to rent-geared-to-income social housing. Survivors of domestic violence currently receive priority access. Changes to the application process will also make it faster, more culturally inclusive, and recognize the cycle of abuse. This will make it easier for survivors and their families to apply for housing and help them escape abusive situations more quickly. The Nation Maire François Saint-Amour will become the new warden for the United Counties of Prescott-Russell on December 20th. Stéphane Parisien, the Chief Administrator for the United Counties of Prescott-Russell, confirmed at the November 22nd Counties Council session that Saint-Amour will take over the post from Warden Gary Barton. Mayors Guy Desjardins of Clarence-Rockland and Pierre Leroux of Russell Township proposed Saint-Amour for the position, and the other mayors confirmed his nomination. Saint-Amour says that he plans to consult with administration before announcing his priorities for next year, and that he has identified some very achievable targets, and that he intends to work with the municipalities once economic development programs for the counties are in place. Saint-Amour is not new to the job, having previously served as warden in 2012. It will be easier for individuals and families to find a home by rebating development charges on new purpose-built rental housing to encourage more construction and bring more fairness to the rental market. The Minister of Housing announced that the province will rebate up to $125 million in development charges over 5 years for priority purpose-built rental developments in municipalities with low vacancy rates or high tenant populations where affordable renters are hard to find. This will also encourage and help to build complete communities that are accessible, livable, walkable, and close to transit and other services. In the coming days, the province will be inviting municipalities to participate in the program. At its Committee of the Whole meeting in early November, the United Counties of Prescott and Russell mulled over the possibility of having municipalities install addresses to all rural entrances. The council favored the idea and recognized its safety implications. During the meeting, Michael Chrétien said he'd work with representatives in each municipality to get feedback about the project because the distribution of civic addresses is the responsibility of municipalities and not the counties. The use of addresses on rural properties would enable first responders to locate anyone who needs their services more quickly. Recycle Action runs a successful Blue Box program in Prescott-Russell, serving many communities and providing employment for workers with limited job skills. The program provides recycled material supply markets with tons of old newspapers, tin cans, glass bottles, and other items which would have overloaded local landfills. This could all be in jeopardy with the provincial government's new Waste-Free Ontario Act, which could result in private companies from outside the region competing in the area. Caroline Arquin, Executive Director of Groupe Convex, which created Recycle Action, said maintaining the value-added service is a priority. Groupe Convex has sent a letter to Ontario Environment Minister Chris Ballard outlining its concerns and is campaigning for local and regional support for Recycle Action. Arcan noted the nonprofit agency is also working on a new business plan to maintain its program in case of approval of the Waste-Free Ontario Act. All 8 mayors on UCPR Council have given unanimous approval to a resolution of support for Groupe Convex, which the agency can present to the minister during a future meeting. Over 25 local businesses are participating in a Christmas bingo campaign for 25 days, which was designed to promote and encourage local businesses and give participants the chance to win $10,000 before Christmas. Anyone interested can sign up through the Alia Solutions website to receive a bingo card by email. Participants must fill up their bingo card by visiting the 25 participating businesses in Clarence-Rockland over the 25-day period, which started November 20th and runs until Friday, December 15th. And now, Andrea Delorme with Business Talk.
Welcome to Business Talk. I'm Andrea Delorme from the Clarence-Rockland Chamber of Commerce. Let me introduce you to Les Paniers de Chloé. Good morning, Sylvain. Tell me, who are the owners of Les Paniers de Chloé?
I'm the main owner, so I own the business, but we also work as a team. So Geneviève Casey, my spouse, she does all the creative work with the baskets. She puts the final touch, so my clients are very happy with the final product.
As a new company, what brought you to start Les Paniers de Chloé?
These days, a lot of people buy online, so I decided to do an online store where people can buy gift baskets. And we had a friend from Sudbury who did that for 10 years, I believe. So the business is called Le Petit Panier. So we decided to ask her questions about running the business, and then we decided to give it a go in September.
What product does Les Paniers de Chloé offers?
We have a lot of products. We try to keep them local, so to encourage local businesses. So far, right now, my main suppliers are from Toronto or Montreal, the Laurentians region. So most of our products inside the baskets are gourmet foods. We also add like spa products like soaps, bath bombs. But I've seen with the sales that a lot of people want to customize their own baskets, so we're open to this idea as well.
Who can purchase them?
Anyone can purchase them. We have an online store on Shopify, so it's an easy platform to buy the products. And I also offer deliveries, so if you buy the product, I can bring the product or the basket to the client.
Okay. Who are your main clients and where can they purchase it?
My main clients, I would say, there's the personal clients, but there's also the business client, the corporate. So I'm trying to offer the baskets to businesses who like to give baskets to their clients or even their employees. So that would be the corporate side. And then personal, you can buy a basket for any occasion, any themes. And they can purchase the baskets on our website, lespaniersdechloé.ca.
As a new business owner in Rockland, what do you want to bring to the population?
I want to bring something different, different type of gifts. A lot of people like Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, even a birthday. People don't know what to buy anymore, so I'm offering them a gourmet basket online, so it's easy to buy as well. So just a different products.
Do you have upcoming events for at Lespaniersdechloé de Chloé?
For sure. We will be attending the Christmas Bazaar on November 18th, November 19th at Club Powers. But I'm also organizing, because I'm a little bit of an entrepreneur, so I'm organizing a Christmas market on November 26th at the Top Mode Depot. So come and join us at the Christmas market.
What are your business hours?
Always open. It's a website, so we're always open. Obviously, I'm not going to prepare a basket at 2 a.m., but always open to accept the orders on our website.
Well, thank you, Sylvain, for having us today, and congratulations on your new business.
Thank you.
This is Andrea Delorme for Business Talk.
Thanks, Andrea. Several bottled water companies will be allowed to take up to 7.6 million liters of groundwater per day on expired permits, as it gives them time to amend renewal applications in light of new rules. A 2-year moratorium to take water for bottling came into effect on January 1st, and water bottlers now have to pay a higher fee, $504 for every million liter of groundwater they take up, from about $4. During the moratorium, the government is giving bottled water companies a long lead time, likely to be up to 18 months in some cases, to amend renewal applications so they comply with new technical requirements. The new guidelines include additional scientific evaluations and a requirement for water bottlers to publicly report more of their data. Are you one of those fur parents who feels a stab of guilt every time you leave your fur babies home alone? Maybe you've heard about leaving a TV or radio playing when you leave the house. Does that work? Here are the facts. If you have a cat, forget the audible distractions. Animal behavior psychologist Dr. Charles Snowden says that cats communicate in a much higher frequency range, so there's very little about human music that will interest them. Plus, cats perceive TV images as a series of flickering lights, not solid images, which they could find annoying. The good news? Most experts say that cats are natural loners and rarely experience separation anxiety. But with dogs, it's an entirely different story. Zoologist John Bradshaw says that since dogs are pack animals, a lot of them freak out when their owners leave, thinking they've been abandoned for good. So hearing human voices, even recorded, unfamiliar ones, can be soothing for them. Dogs like the radio too, but animal welfare expert Dr. Deborah Wells says they have plenty specific musical taste. Not such big fans of top 40, heavy metal, or country. What dogs really respond to? Classical music. Ontario's energy minister says a proposal for prepaid smart meters for electricity use is only in the preliminary stages. Glenn Thibault says if the meters do happen, they would be an opt-in choice for customers. The proposal is contained in a massive Ontario Energy Board application, which also asks for a rate increase of 0.5% this year and 4.8% next year. The application says the prepaid meters would minimize Hydro One's financial risk by requiring customers to pay for energy before using it, in particular customers deemed a high collection risk. The vaping industry say pending tobacco regulations will limit access to what they call a healthy alternative to smoking. Vapor advocates of Ontario and other protesters gathered at Queen's Park November 26 to protest the incoming subsection to Bill 174, the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. They say Schedule 3 of the bill would ban the promotion of some products in specialty shops to people over the legal smoking age, forbid all flavors, and prohibit use in public spaces. They say the government should be promoting alternatives to cigarettes, which they contend are less hazardous. The Rockland Health Center celebrated its 25th anniversary in November and at the same time honored one of their former presidents, Yvan Huppé, who is also one of the original founding members. In recognition of his years of service to the community, Clarence-Rockland City Councillor Carl Grimard presented a plaque of excellence to Huppé as part of a special evening on November 23rd at the River Rock Inn. A plaque to recognize the food bank was also presented. The food bank currently has approximately 260 families enlisted for the holiday season and about 80 volunteers in total. Hockey fans will want to mark Saturday, February 1st, 2018 on their calendar. That's the date the Montreal Canadiens alumni will play the HGH Foundation Scotiabank in a fundraising game at the Robert Hartley Sports Complex in Hawkesbury. The day will start with a Canadiens alumni hockey school, a full hour of training by former NHL players and Habs legends starting at 4:30. The session, which is recognized by Hockey Canada, is open to all students that are competitive and non-competitive in novice, autumn, pee-wee, bantam, and midget levels. Tickets for this activity is $25 per student. A cocktail with the Montreal Canadiens alumni will be held following the hockey school session at 5. Light refreshments will be served while people can meet and mingle with the players or even have them autograph 2 personal items. Tickets for the cocktail event are at a cost of $75 per person. The hockey game will start at 7 and tickets cost $20 per person. On a lighter note, Zillow claims the value of Santa Claus North Pole's home has jumped 6.5% over the past year. The 3-bedroom, 2-bath log home is worth $710,559. The cabin has a rock fireplace, a gourmet kitchen, and a hot cocoa tap and an oven with 12 different cookie settings. The estate also features a toy workshop, a garage for Santa's sleigh, and stables for 9 reindeer. My name is Sylvia Ashbullard, and this has been the Rockland Bulletin.